You're listening to Completing the Shelf, a nerd review podcast, where two brothers take a deep dive into all corners of nerd culture, from film and television to video games, graphic novels, and whatever else we're passionate about.
Hello everybody, welcome to Nostalgia Hour, back to the 1990s where we're going to the Nintendo 64. We're going to reminisce about pretty much both of our childhoods. I'm obviously much younger than you, but still grew up around everything that you played because you're the one who got every system. I played all the stuff you own. So N64 was our first console in the home, right?
It was, and it took a long time to convince Mom and Dad to get us this system.
Yeah, they really didn't know video games. They weren't big fans of it, but luckily I
had a friend come over and he left it over for 2 weeks. I got hooked on Mortal Kombat and Starfox, and that was the end of it.
Wait, I did not know that. Wait, what? You were able to play Mortal Kombat?
Yes, I was. And
that's a story you've never told me.
Yeah, you and the kids that Mom would babysit. I could only play Mortal Kombat when you guys weren't around because it was too violent.
Oh, I thought it was GoldenEye that was the issue.
Oh, that was later. In Florida.
Wow, I had no idea.
This was New Jersey. This was New Jersey.
I had no idea you played Mortal Kombat. Okay, well, interesting. I'm pretty sure that won't make it on the list, but
no.
We're gonna list our top 3 favorite 64 games.
Yep.
Pretty much sentimental at this point because, it's not games we play every day, but it's just ones that left a lasting impression on us. And then have honorable mentions afterwards as well, because there's just so many that mean a lot to me. This is one of my favorite consoles, and right now, it's like booming in popularity, nostalgia, and collecting. A few years ago, the Super Nintendo had this, and its prices skyrocketed. Well, now, N64, its era is happening. Where
so what are they going for right now?
I mean, the console isn't super expensive. It's probably one of the cheaper Nintendo consoles, but the games are crazy. I mean, if you want Smash Brothers, you're paying $60-$70 for a card of Smash Bros. So
I can understand that though. It's an amazing game.
It's because it's this generation that's now finally getting jobs and money and wanting to collect on their youth again.
Yes.
So I'm going to ask you to start this out with your number 3 favorite N64 game.
Why? Because I'm an oldie, as you say?
Because I just talked for a while. I need a break.
Okay, well, are we starting with number 3 or number 1? What do you want to do?
Number 3.
Okay, number 3.
Got to build up.
Well, number 3 is a game that I think is going to be on your list, but I'm not sure. And it stars a bear and a bird. Banjo-Kazooie.
Maybe for the sake of not repeating, I may switch out one of mine, but go into detail.
Don't switch out. If we share, that means there was something good about that game.
Yes. Okay.
Right?
So Banjo-Kazooie.
Banjo-Kazooie. What I loved about that game is just the story didn't matter. It was just fun and colorful and creative. The sound effects still stick in my head. I was watching a YouTube video.
Iconic soundtrack.
Not as iconic as a lot of other games because I don't think it's pierced popular
culture. Soundtrack
culture.
And sound effects, everything like that game is wired in when you play it.
To those that have played it, like I can still sing and hum all the songs. Exactly. And even my wife, I was playing some YouTube videos looking at someone playing through the game, and my wife's like, "Oh yeah, I remember that game. That was fun." So
it's a great game. Yeah.
The combination of both characters and the creativity of how you combine their abilities together, awesome. So, yeah, and that and the soundtrack, I think that's what sells it.
Yes, and it's also, like, really, joke heavy. Like, it's very unique and silly, It's very this quirky little game with all these little weird characters and weird enemies.
It's pretty long.
Not little, it's very long.
I eventually gave up as a kid.
It's a little archaic when it comes to some things about it, so it doesn't hold up perfectly, but... again, it is pretty well for an N64, especially that controller, that 3-prong Trident Nightmare. So I will say that that game is one of the best, but I will probably delve into my opinions more further on in this list about it.
Yes. I'm interested to see where it's on your list. But so why don't we go number 3 for Tommy?
Number 3 is going to surprise you. It's going to shock you. You're not going to see it coming. It's going to be like a right hook to the face, okay?
Pokemon Snap.
Because this is not something we grew up with. This is something I found later on the Virtual Console.
Okay.
Something that you've never played, I guarantee. Probably.
Well, let's get to it.
it's my number 3 favorite N64 game is Kirby 64: The Crystal Shards.
I'm not surprised.
I mean,
you're a big Kirby fan.
This Kirby, everyone is. If you play Kirby, the thing about Kirby franchise is it's Nintendo's greatest IP. Every game's amazing. They're all incredible. And everyone agrees. If you play Kirby, they're all great. But this one is the most unique one. This is the one people say, make a game like this again, you know? Like with Super Mario Odyssey, everyone wanted like Sunshine or 64 again. Well, this is the Kirby version of that because, one, it's 3D. So it's I believe the only Kirby game that's 3D. And you know, the gimmick of Kirby is you suck up enemies, you take their power, right?
Sure.
But in this game, you can suck up enemies and take their power like normal, or you can suck up enemy, take their power, and combine their power with another one. And so now there's like 400 different powers in this game. You have rock and fire. Rock and fire does something different. Rock and electric does something different. Every single different power has a different combination with another, and it's so like incredibly fun to like discover the powers. Like this game's all about the powers. Like really, like the level design's a little weak. The gameplay's a little slow, but the discovery of all these millions of powers that these people have. Kirby is the most interesting in this game than it's been in a long time because of that one major gimmick. And it's not like open world like Mario. Sure. Like 3D wise, it's more of just like 2.5D, I guess. Like it's a 3D image on a 2D plane.
Is it a platformer?
It is a platformer.
Okay.
So it's a shorter game that's all about completion. So I love games like that. And it's super like aesthetically pleasing. It's, you know, Kirby's cute and everything, and pink and colorful worlds and great music, great boss battles. Kirby's always has great boss battles, but it's that power combination that we need more of in this world. It's super like a cool initiative of them to like give that depth that's never been in Kirby before. And they kind of almost got there with the newest Kirby on 3DS, which of course I played and loved, but not quite, not quite the level of depth in their power combination. Love this game a lot. It's super, super fun. And you've never played it, so that's even better.
My only experience with Kirby is on Smash, and I love them on there. But yeah, I've never played a Kirby game. Someday I'll have to remedy that.
Well, there's no better game for your first game. So when your little girl's growing up, throw a Kirby in her face. That's the perfect starter beginner game that also is fun for like adults. It's the best series ever. Kirby's great.
All right. Well, should we move on, or do you have more about Kirby?
No. I mean, there were cutscenes in this, and I like them as well. I do want to make a little caveat for anyone watching. or listening, that we did not grow up with Super Mario 64 or Zelda Ocarina of Time.
We didn't.
Or a Majora's Mask.
No.
We did not grow up with this.
None of them.
We are the B tier N64 series fans. All the B tier series we were totally into, and we never even bought the other ones. And you're a kid, you don't really know what's good or not. You kind of just fall into place with some of them. So yeah. That is one thing to keep in mind, that your favorite game isn't here. I guarantee it.
Probably not. All right. Well, number 2 for my list is, I think it's on your list too. It has to be. It's Super Smash Brothers. I mean, it has to be on this list.
It's not on my list.
It is not on your list. Oh my god.
Go ahead.
I love Super Smash Brothers. The idea presented in the beginning opening cutscene where the kids...
Genius.
Placing the toys on the desk, and then they become alive, and it's like Toy Story. It's like, oh, all of us kids at some point imagined, oh, who could beat who? We've done this with superheroes, Batman versus Spider-Man, whatever. But now you can do Mario versus Fox McCloud, or Kirby versus Yoshi.
Appealing, it made fighting games more appealing than just big tough guys punching each other.
Yeah, because it is about
attachment.
Well, like the Kirby game you just cited. It's about the combination of diverse power sets and seeing what happens.
Yes.
Every time you play Smash, it's a different outcome. You never know what's going to happen.
It simplified the genre and made it more accessible too. So it's more like a sandbox fighting game. There's no input combinations, up, down, left, right, ABC. You don't start and then you do the move. It's very freeform, and that's why it's lasted so long.
That's
so
why
popular.
Mortal Kombat, like, it lost its interest in me for a while, because I was just bashing buttons, you know. But with Smash, you can actually purposefully press buttons to do purposeful actions because it's simple.
And every character has the same moveset. So, like, you can pick up any character. It doesn't take years to finally get good at a different one. Every character you can pick up, they have their intricacies. You can get good at different ones. They play differently. Some are heavier, slower, whatever. But that ability to just, let me try this character. It gives it more endless appeal because you can always try new things, different combinations against each other, and items on, items off.
Yeah,
whatever
locations,
you want to do.
The stages. So I have this on my Wii Virtual Console, but not on my Wii U, and I never transferred over, whatever. That's so fine. I watched YouTube videos, and it struck me how noisy and how like solid metallic sound resounds when someone's hit.
Beautifully designed.
I don't know if it's beautiful. It's weird.
No, you start at the menu, and the menu music is just
the
ethereal,
music.
And like the menu dum dum.
I'm talking about when like Samus hits Pikachu. That
I agree.
sound is so metallic and heavy and odd. That doesn't hold up.
That narrator also is just board the platforms. Like it's just like great mini games too. The 64 I would say has probably the best like mini games, like the sub games.
Targets.
Targets and platforms. I wish they did that more because it like tested the limits of platforming ability.
And it really honed your skill. It really honed your skill.
Confined space. So I agree. The Smash Brothers is great. The only reason I didn't put it on is it's the worst Smash Brothers ever made.
Sure, but we're talking about 64.
I agree. So, but because of that, it's been dwarfed in my eyes. So
definitely.
But yeah, I agree. Now number 2 is Banjo-Kazooie, of course.
Okay.
So I just want to get it out of the way. Maybe give it a little more. Is the level locations are so diverse.
Yes.
I think there's so much character in every single inch of Banjo-Kazooie. Everywhere you go is an interesting idea, a funny line, a funny character dude. There's secrets everywhere. I love in the beach level when you can fly all the way up and then you enter this new level. Exactly. Wow, you remember it. And then you fly up to like the summit of the mountain and the music fades and it's just this atmospheric like breeze and you're like
and
up
flying
here
around.
Yeah, and then as you fall closer to the ground, the music starts to fade in a little bit. It's like there's a lot of diegetic music in this game. That's really like it changes with the world. Like that first level, the grass hill level, like you walk to the boss part with the monkey, the music changes as you walk there. Like that's super ahead of its time idea. Rareware really knew what they were doing. So I really think when it comes to just world building, that Banjo-Kazooie did the best on Nintendo 64, especially with such a condensed amount of storage you can make a game. Like these are tiny games. They're megabytes. So that was really my favorite thing about it. Overall, when I play it, it's the levels. Nothing else but the levels are my favorite. Even though I love all the characters too, all the quirky little abilities and characters. Everything's anamorphic. Everything's alive, with eyes, and they have these weird speech patterns. It's Banjo-Kazooie is great. I did want to mention about Smash Brothers. Is the creator of Smash Brothers also the creator of Kirby? So you might enjoy Kirby even more because of that. But yeah, so. Banjo-Kazooie is my number 2. I kind of wanted to replace it just so we don't retread, but I know.
Yeah, and a little sidebar, and the same people are making Yooka-Laylee?
Yes, Yooka-Laylee is coming out from essentially the same team that made Banjo-Kazooie, and these guys just never got to make another game like that ever again. So they're finally getting back to it. It looks great, but it's kind of hard to tell because it's indie, it's a Kickstarter, But I do trust everyone on that project.
I mean, it looks good.
All of them do amazing work. The soundtrack people are the same. I mean, it's the same team. So it's like the Expendables of Rareware coming together. I hope it's good. I really do. You never know until you play it, though. And it looks good, though. It looks like it has that quirky, fun attitude to it. That and indie games have even more of that quirkiness, which is a big appeal of them. So I'm crossing my fingers.
And the name is more ridiculous than Banjo-Kazooie itself. So
Ukulele, I love it. I love it. It's super funny. It's super funny, and it's a bat and a iguana now.
Yeah, and you know exactly what you're gonna get from that name. So ukulele,
Yuka and Lele. Yeah. Okay. We're here at number one. Your favorite N64 game?
My favorite one. You could probably guess.
I'm not sure. What would it be?
It's Starfox 64.
Okay.
Starfox 64.
Interesting.
I think this is one of those 64 games that penetrated pop culture beyond gamers.
It still exists today as a meme.
It does. Do a barrel roll. Be careful. It's a trap. Whenever I hear that, I think of Star Wars and Star Fox. Use the boost to get through. You're just like your father.
Everyone loves this series who played it on the 64. I think if you grew up with this, it just encapsulates you in this world of just campy fun.
Okay. When I was a kid, I chose this game as number one because as a kid, I would get in bed, ready to go to sleep, and then play the levels in my head and find solutions and then go do those solutions the next day and actually unlock, accomplish levels instead of completing them. And it just took my mind over. But it was simple control and just really fun gameplay and goofy. And the voice acting, isn't that rare for a 64 game? This is one of the first ones that did that.
Cinematic, the cinematic feel.
Not cinematic dialogue, but cinematic.
I loved every utterance, every syllable out of this game. I mean, we're gonna keep talking about it because it's my number one too.
All right.
This is my favorite game ever made.
Brothers Unite.
This is number one of all time, not just 64. And Star Fox 64 has the biggest nostalgia gut punch that any other franchise has, other than maybe Pokemon. And really, I think it's even more worse because it's barely been supported past this game. No sequel has improved on this game. This is the pinnacle of the series. Unlike Smash Brothers, where every game subsequently, is better. Star Fox, this is the pinnacle still from 1997.
I agree.
And just the opening with the atmospheric boom, and then Nintendo logo comes up and the N64, and then the ship comes and they're running down the thing and they get in it's just everything so iconic from this series.
Good luck.
Every single thing is iconic, and I really like things that shows or games or whatever that do that, where it's that's an iconic moment. Every 5 minutes there's something iconic and memorable from this game.
From Star Wolf to Andross.
These four characters, this team of scrappy animals with legs that stand, they're all my favorite. I don't want them ever to change. I don't like when they add new people. I want them
Crystal?
to be those four. No,
I don't either.
So I like them. They're dynamic. Falco and Fox dynamic. It's incredible. The Star Wolf is one of the coolest villains in all gaming. This game is so fun, but also, so that's the aesthetic parts of the game. The game's very polygonal and fun to look at. It's really fast paced. It's really cool environments, different planets of different, weather systems,
different vehicle forms that you get to enjoy, from the Blue Marine to the tank. I mean, you don't get bored and tired of anything, and they don't overdo you with the tank and the Blue Marine. They come in and come out, and then you're done.
The conciseness of this game, if that's a word.
Yes, the concision.
Concision of this game is I appreciate. The gameplay is so pristine, so refined, so fine-tuned. It's an on-rails shooter. You just fly and
except for all range mode.
And then that's awesome. It's a boss battle. It's really fun and cool, and it's this dogfight. But this on rails, everything's planned, everything's perfectly, designed for you to encounter it. That's what open world games and all these, whatever. There's a value in being completely and utterly on rails and being linear, because that means every single second is perfectly designed for you to You encounter it as you.
The creator's intention is absolutely realized.
This game's short, right? It's 5 hours. You can beat it in an hour once you're good at it. I think I beat it in 45 minutes once.
I can see that. Yeah,
and that makes it so replayable. and has the diverging paths. So every time you play it, it can be completely different. There's
I think
hundreds
Go ahead.
of possibilities. There's hundreds of possibilities to play through this game with different story beats, different emotional moments. You lose Peppy, or you lose Slippy, or you meet your dad, or you fight Star Wolf 3 times or 2 times, or you meet Cat, you meet Bill. It's all these cool side characters that come into your life, and it's so good.
And I think the concision, again, like you said, is what makes this endure, because it just gives you enough of this whole world that
I could do it in
not
an
really
afternoon.
built.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the whole world is implied there, and you, as the the player, is like creating whole stories behind
more.
this. And that's why we want more, but they've never given us more that is satisfying.
Assault was fine. I think Assault was the best sequel when it comes to implementing more world, because it had a good story. It probably had arguably a better story than 64. Not as timeless, very 2000s, but where Star Fox 64 is more just Star Wars, timeless, kind of campy movie. And then they tried to reboot it with Zero, and I got the same nostalgic flashbacks from it, but it was so similar in its story that it didn't feel like anything was adding to the actual mythos of it.
And for me, the learning curve in controlling your R-Wing was a little more challenging than the original.
You're in the consensus. I'm in the boat that says the controls are really fun and cool in Star Fox Zero. The levels aren't designed as well to take advantage of those controls, but it just feels rushed instead of the controls being bad.
I don't think they're bad. I think it requires more time to learn. Right, and I don't have that time.
And that's the thing. This original game, you're in. You fly in. You're shooting that first. You're in the water of Corneria. That music comes up. It's. There's everything you want in a video game.
I can play the first level on Corneria in my head right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, essentially.
Yeah.
Everything about it, and then also like becoming a master is an arduous process. It takes hours and hours of
but it's possible.
Getting every enemy, knowing where all the locations, shooting, getting as many points as you can, getting all the medals, unlocking the multiplayer.
Bomb plasma.
It's all that combined with like this super fun and this like super crazy good like feeling of its world. Like again, like Star Wars kind of esque. Like it's very cinematic. Like there's a lot of Independence Day, that one Independence Day level. It's a lot of
direct copy
from movies instead of video games, and I think that's also a good thing. Again, Nintendo never does voice acting, yet it was important in here, and maybe that's why, because it's one of probably the first game ever with voice acting I've ever played. So it blew me away even more when I was a kid. Like, this is it. This is everything.
Well, add so much, forgive the pun, character to the game.
It even looked cool though, like the R-Wing design, right? Like
it holds up. It really does.
Doing a barrel roll looks cool. Shooting a bomb plasma, the explosions are really like satisfying.
They really are. The physics of the game, it just feels satisfying, like you said.
And the explosions when you beat a boss, like 40 explosions, like Uncle Landra. Yeah. Super iconic. I think that's, even if you haven't played it,
I am the great
memes.
Leon.
Yeah, even if you played it, you know the memes. It's probably Nintendo's, other than Metroid, most interesting like sci-fi setting as well.
I agree. Yeah.
Metroid's a little more vague in its, what it is, but where this is again concision.
Yes.
So yeah, Star Fox is my favorite game. We have some time now left over if we want to go through,
because
I have so many more.
Mentions.
I have a million more of games I love from 64. So how about you go ahead?
All right. So my first honorable mention, I guess you could say it's my top number 4, is GoldenEye 007.
GoldenEye 007. Okay.
Had to put it on the list. Now, my sister and I, we played this endlessly. I didn't play the story mode. I played it once, maybe twice. But then just the multiplayer was so immersive and just so much fun. And my sister and I would learn the levels. The complex was our favorite one, and where to hide in the walls or in the air vents or whatever.
Great multiplayer, ahead of its time.
It was. But the thing is, a few years ago, a friend of mine, we had a party at his house.
It's a little rough now, yeah.
Yeah, it did not stand up to living in a world with Halo and other dual stick controls and stuff like that. So that's why it's not on my list now, because it doesn't stand up anymore. But it was a really important game.
cemented Rareware's ability to make content, like the Banjo-Kazooie, GoldenEye, Killer Instinct. Like they're just knocking out hit after hit.
It was such a good game that it was remastered for the Wii. And not a lot of games were done that way.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's that soundtrack, the classic James Bond soundtrack. Yeah. It's very. I didn't grow up with as much as you do, but I do remember it still pretty vividly. Multiplayer. I think the multiplayer is probably the best part of the game. The story is probably the most lacking.
Yeah, and with GoldenEye, our mom would not like it when the screen turns red and bloody. But
it's so iconic.
I know.
Such a great moment.
I had to give the game away and trade it to a friend eventually because she didn't like it so much.
That Reagan politics, huh?
I don't know if Reagan has anything to do with it, but
no, I don't know. GoldenEye, I would. It's not really. It doesn't hold that nostalgia for me, but it's definitely a favorite of the era. I have so many. We'll start with the Pokemon games on N64.
Oh, they're on my list too.
Stadium and Snap are both Stadium 1 and 2. I played 2. You never played 2. Really, I didn't care about one single solitary Pokemon battle in Pokemon Stadium 1 or 2. It's those mini games, dude. It's the best party game on Nintendo 64, easily.
See, I didn't play the mini games at all. Those were boring. I wanted to see my Pokemon that I trained on my Game Boy to play in 3D. That's what I wanted.
Again, it's the first time you ever saw them in that way.
Yeah.
And to me, I didn't grow up with the game the same way you did. I remember playing Red a little bit. Like, it's some of my first memories is playing Red. But again, it wasn't my team.
Yeah, I mean, so
I think I just missed out on that.
I still own those cartridges. They're right here in my desk, unplayed.
They're important.
And
not unplayed.
My Venusaur. Anyway, go on.
Yeah, for me it was the mini games. It was the mini games were the super fun, and we didn't have a game like that. We didn't have Mario Party, and it wasn't. There's no board game. It was just play all the games. There was no like middle way. There's no mediation kind of getting through the boring part. Then you get to have the fun part on your turn. It's just play a bunch of mini games that are fun with Pokemon characters that you're obsessed with, and it's your entire life. Ekans is your entire life. All these things. You're just everything to you. So just because it was like less of a game than just like a mini game collection, it didn't make my list, but it's important still.
It was, because like you said, it's the first time we see those characters presented in that way.
And it allows you to play Pokemon Red and Blue on the screen, on the big screen.
That was awesome.
Then Pokemon Snap, of course, is
that was
classic.
more immersive, a lot more fun.
This one I did play a lot of. You gotta, get the most points. You gotta, again, kind of like Starfox, is that on rails kind of everything's designed to you encounter, get the perfect high score, get all the best pictures.
New things every time you go through.
There's like puzzles in it. There's like a puzzle element to like getting certain Pokemon to like be able to be captured. Again, great levels. Great diverse levels of fun, interesting things you encounter every second. There's a new thing to look at, a new thing to experience. I really wish they did it again. Obviously, with Pokemon Go, people want something like this.
Unlike Stadium, you see your Pokemon or the Pokemon in their natural environment.
Right? They have more like
it makes it a little more realistic.
Yeah. It's really, that is a big thing. It really feels like, I want this to be real.
Like you're on a safari for Pokemon.
When are the biological engineers going to make these real already? Come on.
I think we should learn from Jurassic Park.
Yeah, I wish, they need to get on that. I want there to be more of this series. Unlike Stadium, I don't need more Stadium. The games are in 3D on the handhelds now. I don't care. But I want this game. I want more of this game. Ugh.
I agree.
Getting Gyarados, getting Dragonite, getting like the secret ones, getting Mew.
Yes.
It felt like exciting and new. Maybe it wouldn't feel that way anymore, but I just doubt it. There's so many Pokemon, like they could just put in, I think there was like 60 of the 150 in this game. Like just do all the 150 and then there you go, sequel. And
that would cash in on the nostalgia of my generation.
Well, I mean, Pokemon is just like it's the nostalgic, minefield. It's the never-ending wellspring of nostalgia. There's nothing more nostalgic to me than Charmander, Squirtle, Bulbasaur. There's literally nothing that like has that level of. We should do a Pokemon episode probably in the future that has that level of nostalgia bite.
We could spend an hour on Missingo.
You know what? Again, more your era. My games did not have such breaking glitches, but I still did play.
Hey, got me a Kangaskhan.
Okay. Do you have any more on your
I do indeed.
list?
I have
Okay.
Cruising the World.
Ugh.
Now, I only put this game on, not because it's amazing.
We played it a lot.
We played it so much, and the music is in my head. I could sing it right now, too.
This was one of those games you got as a kid. You didn't know, but you played a bunch of it.
Yeah, me and my sister would just endlessly in France.
Instead of Mario Kart, might I add.
We never owned Mario Kart.
This was our racing game.
And so Mario Kart is on my list, but it's below Cruising the World because of that. I'm a latecomer to Mario Kart. I find the later games better than 64. And that got me in trouble in college where all my friends wanted to play 64 only. I found the controls to be poor comparatively because I got used to the Double Dash and the Wii
that's how
one.
I felt with Smash Bros.
Yeah. So I understand that, definitely. But I respect Mario Kart. It's still fun. The level the level designs that they ported over to the Wii, and
it just wasn't our first, and that's like the difference.
Yeah, but those levels are still awesome. They still hold up.
We love Double Dash. Mario Kart's one of our favorite franchises.
We could do a whole episode on that too.
Yeah, Mario Kart's great. So it's not we're saying that 64 is bad. It's just a little outdated. I'm sorry.
It doesn't hold up.
Yeah.
It doesn't hold up.
No. I have one that's I probably regret not putting my top 3 because I love it so much, and it probably...
Tell me about it.
It probably is identifying the amount I care for it. It's Paper Mario.
I was wondering where this was.
It should have been top 3. I just wanted to surprise you with Kirby. Kirby's great. But Paper Mario came out both with Kirby too, came out 2000, like it was at the end of 64 lifespan. So a lot of people missed it. But Paper Mario has continued strong-ish. It has a lot of sequels. And I played all of them. Yeah, I've played every Paper Mario game, and they're all great. Or at least good. They're all good, but this one, it's an RPG. Nintendo doesn't do that often. It's a really unique aesthetic. Paper. It's really interesting looking. It's not it doesn't have that blocky 64 look.
So this is pretty. The test of time, I'm sure.
This is one of the most timeless looking 64 games, I'd say. But it's also like it's this world that isn't like every other Mario world, and that's why people love it. It diverges from the color-coded, pristine, methodical path of Mario, where everything's formulated to be exactly how, brand like on brand, where this kind of diverges, gets goofy, gets weird. You get these new characters, new people, funny, goofy humor.
This is the Mario indie game?
I mean, it's the same team as Fire Emblem. This is their RPG team. So the RPG is solid. The RPG is it's a little simple, but again, it's all about the world. This game, there's not a lot of different ways you can play it. You essentially end up with the same Mario. I mean, it's a little different, but essentially the same. But you get the partner characters, which do differ because you have 8 different like partner characters, kind of like a double battle in Pokemon, where Mario fights, and then the partner that you've in the story talk to you, and you've learned their backstory and their problems, and you've helped them out. They join your team to help defeat Bowser, save Princess Peach. But also in Paper Mario, especially the first 3, you get to actually play as Peach. And these like interlude missions where you're her captive in the castle, and she's like doing different things to like try to escape or like contact Mario, or just different silly things. So like every chapter of this game, it plays like a storybook. There's this interlude where you play as Peach captured in the castle, and you have to like outsmart the guards. But Peach she can't battle. There's no battling in it. It's like all puzzle elements, and so that's a really fun like interlude and a nice like window into like that world. It's a really funny idea of like what is happening while she's been captured this whole time. What's going on?
Yeah, I love that. That's a great idea.
So yeah, Paper Mario, and the sequel is even better. The sequel trumps this one a million times over, in my opinion. The threequel is also really fun, very different game, the threequel. Since then, it's been a little worse because they've really just changed the game, the core game concept, which, the fans aren't fan of too much. But luckily, these games still exist. Paper Mario 64 probably actually is top 3. Now that I'm thinking about it, but I played it so much
what would
later.
you kick off?
It doesn't have the nostalgia. You know what I mean?
What would you?
It doesn't
kick
have
off
the
your
nostalgia. Probably Banjo.
Okay.
I'd probably Kirby, Mario, and then Starfox. But again, it just doesn't have the nostalgia. So I think because Banjo has that nostalgia to me, it still kind of is up there. But as a game I'd play today, Paper Mario every day.
Sure. Very good. So do you have any more honorable mentions?
Oh, I can keep going. We got Wave Race 64, a great racing game I bought recently.
It was on my list too.
Which I was impressed by its physics engine on a 64.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
The waves react pretty naturally than I was expecting on such a 3D is a new thing, so it's very interesting. The guy who worked on this, you may have saw the Switch demonstration event where as the head development of all the software, and I don't remember his name, but so the guy who started off Nintendo making Wave Races, it was his first game, is now leading every idea Nintendo makes. He's the executive producer of all of it. So it is interesting. That's the game where he came onto the scene with. I like that.
Cool.
But Wave Race is fun. Really, really small because I haven't played a lot of it. Beatles Adventure Racing as well. It's an EA game with Beetle cars, the Beatles, not Beatles the band, but a buggy, and but the level design is actually pretty creative and secretive and fun and large. So N64 is a great party game, a party console. Great racing games, great party games, Mario Party, Pokemon Stadium, all these racing games that are all really good. That's something really, really unique about the 64, and I think also cemented Nintendo's identity right now as the couch co-op console, because SNES and NES didn't have too much focus on. It was a lot of single player, but with this one it's more focused on fun with friends coming over. I think that's the whole identity of the 64.
That's how I got into it. A friend brought it over.
Come on over, yeah. And I think that is pretty special. I could look through, because I have pretty much all the N64 games in here.
You have all of them.
If you want to talk for a little bit, I'll look through them.
No, it's all right. We can stick with this list.
Oh yeah, Chris, you can't forget your favorite game ever. Oh, you can't forget Spider-Man.
Oh yes.
See, I knew it was important to look through them. Talk a little about Spider-Man.
I mean, it's not my favorite Spider-Man game now after the 64 one. I mean, after the GameCube one, based off of Spider-Man 2. But yeah, that started me on that Spider-Man world. The battling Venom in it.
Had Stan Lee in it. Stan Lee voice acted in it.
I don't remember a lot of the game because I do. It didn't play as well as I wanted to. I didn't swing around as I wanted to as Spider-Man.
I thought for a licensed game, it was very impressive in its scale. They really, really. They did everything they could with Spider-Man. All the bosses, all the classic, rivals and enemies and locations were represented. Maybe too ambitious, but I think it.
But the movement, the way Spider-Man's very fluid, and 64 didn't really give you that sensation.
But unlike most licensed games, this one kind of went all out, and it had its own red cart. That's a really cool thing about it.
The GameCube Spider-Man, you know which one I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, they
that was. I mean, I could just web spin around the city.
That was based on a movie as well as not just the comics.
Sure.
Excelsior. Sure. That was it. Any more you have? I have one more, but if you have another one,
I had. Oh, I'm so surprised that you don't have Dr. Mario on your list.
That was the other one I had.
Okay, tell me about it.
Dr. Mario's great. It's a great game. This one has a story mode, which makes it the best one. This one, because it has that. I think it is the best Dr. Mario game because the other ones are just the game.
Is it better than Dr. Luigi?
Yes, it's better than Dr. Maybe not, but. There is that's the most fun thing about this game is there's the story mode. A classic gameplay is there, of course, but you get that little fun extra character and goofiness to it. All the unique enemies that really populate it. I'm moving my mic. So I think that's important when you think about this game. Again, it's Dr. Mario. Nothing's really different. Nothing gameplay wise is any change at all. It's just that classic gameplay with a fun little goofy skin around it, which is the campaign mode, which I like. I don't know. Any more you can think of?
Well, I'd like to actually go back to our number one.
Starfox?
Yeah, what's your favorite level?
I mean, emotionally, that last level on the hard mode, when you have his dad's ghost come in, like that sticks with me, haunts me almost like forever. Which is but I guess for fun.
Yeah, for fun.
Just pure enjoyment. I don't know. I'm not sure.
I really think I like Zonus a lot. The music, it's
one.
moody, it's very different. Titania's good though too.
Titania's really good,
with the train?
Especially with the levers. The levers. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. There's I don't know. Maybe it's impossible. As an English teacher, I love that there's a planet called Macbeth. I didn't realize that until now.
That's a cool looking. That's probably one of the coolest looking ones.
It really is.
You know what? And I do want to mention, just so we don't ignore completely, the classics, Mario 64 and Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. We're gonna bash them because I played the remake of 64 on the DS. Loved it. It was great.
Of which one?
That's the best. Mario 64.
Okay.
They remade it on the DS. They updated it. They added new characters you could play as. There's more stars. There's more things to do. And that I loved. I loved that. I was like as a kid too because I was young when the DS was out. Fun game, I would say. I don't know how it holds up to the 64 because I've never played on a 64 console, or virtual console or anything. The original, but I did really, really enjoy the remake. So that is something I can say is I did like that. So I do like Mario 64, just not the 64 DS. That's the caveat,
64 is probably my wife's second favorite game on 64.
Really?
Besides Mario Kart 64. So Mario 64 number 2, Mario Kart number 1 for her.
That's that. You know what? Again, I can't blame anyone. We're weird. We're the weird ones. We shouldn't be here.
That's right.
We don't make sense. And then Zelda Ocarina of Time. I mean, we didn't grow up with it. I'm sure as a cinematic piece, as a 3D game, adventure game, it was amazing. But to me, it's like, an outdated Zelda game. It's boring.
Yeah.
So, that's all it was because I played it like decade after, maybe more, it came out originally. So it's like it kind of lost that spark when, newer Zelda games, for me, I enjoy more. Or even like the 2D ones I enjoy more. It's really, that one just feels very like... It's again with a lot of 64. It was like a bad time to start 3D. A lot of them look janky, play janky, and I think that was Majora's Mask. I can't give an opinion on. I have the 3DS remake. I want to play it. I haven't yet, but I've heard that's great as well. It's a lot of people's favorite, and it's like it's a unique Zelda to any other.
Yeah, I've never played a Zelda game, but I know that those two are.
Oh, you just lost all credibility.
I know. Right? I don't have any credibility. I'm an old man. I'm an oldie, right?
Yeah, but oldies always play Zelda.
Well, I'm not a gamer, I guess. That's your world. Not anymore. No time for that.
I was just looking at the sale list of top selling games, and like Cruis'n USA is pretty high up the list.
It was a fun game, Tommy. The music was amazing.
1.7 million sold.
The only thing about that game that I hate is France, and there's this one path that you're going down. There's trees everywhere, and you just keep getting caught up in the trees, and it's ridiculous. Anyway, can I ask you about our one game on our list, Smash Brothers? Now, who was your favorite character on 64, and what is your favorite stage?
So with a Smash, I maybe was too young to understand the concept of a main, but I think it was Captain Falcon.
It was
because it's very cool that you could unlock him, and I just thought he was the coolest thing. I never played it. I had no idea what F-Zero was,
Me neither.
And once playing the GameCube version, I realized that it's the greatest game ever made. But at that point, he was just this cool guy who punched fire. Like, oh, this is the coolest dude ever. Like, yes.
And you started playing it at like 2 years old or something. So
it's one of my first games ever. Yeah. So.
And favorite stage?
Yeah. Oh, favorite stage. You make it really, because I love them. I love them all. I love them all. They're all great. It's probably got to be Corneria.
Oh yeah, mine too.
Or not Corneria. It's just the ship, right?
Yeah. The Great Fox or whatever it was.
The Great
called.
Fox.
I think that's Corneria.
Maybe. I have no idea. Because I know there's another Starfox stage too, right? Or no? Oh, no, it's like Zonus or Zone Z or something.
Yeah, Corneria
right?
is the one you're thinking of, I believe.
I have no idea. No, Corneria's GameCube.
Okay, so it's people
it's
out there. It's the one
Z
where you're
it's
fighting on top
Z,
of Grain. It's the one that you're fighting on top of Great Fox, whatever that one is called.
That one's fun. I like that. That one's probably because it's Star Fox and it's like my favorite thing.
They haven't replicated that stage. And the experience of that stage, it's a shame. My favorite character on the 64 was Fox.
That's probably my second. Yeah.
Now he's kind of for me. I love Samus, but back then, man, I was a Fox guy.
Yeah, I mean, one thing is I would say one of your biggest like Nintendo franchises that you're a fan of is Metroid, which is a super hardcore Nintendo franchise that a small group of people are fans of. And Metroid did not get a game on N64. This was their only representation of at all on this entire console.
Yeah, it's a shame.
It's a shame, but
hopefully they can make up for that now with the Switch.
Oh God, don't start that fire. Same with Earthbound. That NES was in there, but no game.
Yeah.
On the 64 or ever in America again since Earthbound.
And the people that are devoted to Earthbound, they are complete, into.
I understand why. I played 80% of Earthbound, and I get why. To a lot of people, it's by far the greatest game ever made. It's just
I had a friend that he would dress up as Ness.
You haven't played. You don't even. I don't think you know anything about Earthbound. Right?
I know it's an RPG.
Yeah. So
Aliens.
You know what? Next time I come up, we need to play some Earthbound. We don't have to play the whole thing.
Very good.
But just get a taste of how incredibly unique that game is. It's like if it's the most artistically ethereal, an ethereal tent in it. There's more. It's an auteur kind of game. This is not a game to sell millions. It's not a game formulated to be a big hit. This is a guy came to Nintendo, had an idea that he wanted to provide this story and these characters. It's more artistic endeavor than Nintendo usually does. It's not much
a passion project.
It's more of an experience than just a game, because the RPG actual gameplay isn't the strongest, but it's just the world and
I've heard good things about the music too, the score.
To give you an idea of the music as we go into the Super Nintendo's part of this discussion, I guess, Super Mario World is 4 gigabytes large, or 4 megabytes, sorry. Super Mario World's 4 megabytes, okay? The music in Earthbound is 8 megabytes.
Wow. Wow.
Just the soundtrack alone is 8 megabytes. So it's double the size of the entirety of Super Mario World.
Well, sound design and soundtrack is super important with making an experience.
Yeah, it gives you an idea that how the experience of this game, the aesthetic parts are why, and that's why I'm so happy Ness is in Smash Brothers. They put him in there for why, it didn't sell that well anyway. They only had 2 games in the franchise, but they put him in the 64 version to bring it back to 64, just because Sakurai, the creator, was a fan of the game. And the same with Fire Emblem, what he did with Marth and Roy in GameCube. He was just a fan of Fire Emblem. He wanted more exposure. He put those in the game, and then Fire Emblem came over to the West finally. 64. I mean, again, if you're a collector, if you have some 64 games lying around, hold on to them, because right now they're skyrocketing in collectability and desirability.
I wish I still had mine.
No, unfortunately, you don't care about it enough, because I play it.
I guess it's in good hands.
But I recommend, because a lot of these games you may have played, but some you haven't. I recommend Kirby, which you can get on the Wii Virtual Console, the Kirby 64 game that you probably haven't played. Same with Paper Mario, Wii Virtual Console. Those 2 games, maybe a little more underground, and you can get on a Wii, not a Wii U. Well, at least Kirby you can't get on Wii U.
Really?
But those games you can get on the Wii Virtual Console. That's how I play them for the first time. It's super fun. Really unique games that only the N64 really could have provided. So
cool.
Yeah. Any recommendations from your list for especially to play immediately?
Starfox. People, if you haven't played that, you need to play that. And if you have played it, play it again.
If you have a 3DS, there's the remake of 64 with just better graphics. So
there you go. But doesn't change the gameplay, right?
No, it's the same game. Or just play the original. The original's great. Because the control-wise, unlike most 64 games, it does. It's not based on 3D, so the control's perfect. The control's weird, whatever. It doesn't affect it.
Well, Tommy, can you tell people how they can communicate to us about their top 3 on 64?
Well, you have an email at completingtheshelf@gmail.com. You can comment it down below in the video. Again, Kirby is great, so just if you praise Kirby, I'll love you. But those are the 2 major ways. We have a Twitter at Shelf Nerds that you also can talk to us, and Chris will be posting plenty of weird things on there.
That's
sure.
me mostly, yeah.
But yeah, N64. To me, it's my generation's first console possible. Like that Pokemon began, and that's where I start. Where you could have started earlier, but this is just eventually where you ended up.
Yeah.
With your generation, so you kind of fit into me. I think that's our lists are pretty exactly the same. Like,
well, we grew up in the same house. That helps.
So I like that, and I've tried to venture out a little more in the N64, but again, it's the smallest library of any Nintendo console. It's about 200 something games.
How long was its life?
4 or 5 years. It didn't sell crazily well. But it's the smallest library. It's the first console Nintendo lost the third parties on. So, there's not this breadth of all these good games, but there's this concentrated group of amazingly, genre-defining games. So
its launch game was Mario 64. That's all you needed to launch.
So it is by far the smallest amount of games in its library of any Nintendo console. That's why also it's so collectible now, because it's conceivable to collect all the good games.
Sure.
You can actually imagine that happening. And I recommend picking one up, because the console itself is not too expensive. The games, though, are getting more and more expensive every day. So get it before the console gets crazy, because that probably will happen.
Well, do you have any weekly recommends this week? Anything you've been watching or reading or playing that you want to
play some N64? You know what? I'm totally in on it. I'm gonna blow out the dust and plug it in right after this.
Nice.
I don't know. It's a good game. Or just get on the virtual console and play some Kirby, because I haven't played enough of that game. I need to play it 4 times, 5 times, 6 times.
All right. Well, I think that'll...
Anything you recommend?
Yeah, I have one.
Okay.
I've been doing some rewatching on Star Trek Deep Space Nine. It's just a timeless show. Actually, it's more relevant today in its themes than it was back then. It was a pre-9/11 show, and it's speaking to a post-9/11 world. So everyone should go out and find a way to watch Deep Space Nine. It's on Netflix. It's on Amazon Prime. They just sold a new box set of the whole series that I just got. And the creators are trying to raise money to do a documentary about the making of it. And they've currently got 150% of what they've requested.
So you're saying for people to go there and donate?
Yeah, it's called What We Left Behind. And it's on Indiegogo, and I've contributed. So I'll be getting my DVD cases and stuff. But it's a remarkable show. It's probably the best Star Trek series out of all of them. Though in its runtime, it was the black sheep. No one really watched it, and I didn't either.
I forgot Earthbound. You gotta get Earthbound. It's on the Wii Virtual Console. It's $10. It's on 3DS for new 3DS Virtual Console. It's I think $10 there as well, maybe $15. Definitely worth it.
I think I would like Earthbound.
Well, if you want to buy the cartridge, because for a while we used the first time it's been re-released since it was originally released in like '93 or '94, and if you wanted the cartridge, it's like $300. If you want it in box, it's like $600 to $800.
Wow.
So it's because it didn't sell well, but the people who played it realized its greatness. So Earthbound, another one right there. If you ever thought, who's this Nets guy? Who's this? What is he doing here? Go play that.
Well, hopefully we've added something to your shelf, or you can dust something off on your shelf and get that 64 down and blow in the cartridges.
But, if your controllers still work.
Yeah, well, hopefully your little brothers didn't destroy them when they got frustrated playing a game,
You were an angry gamer too.
Yeah, but I didn't throw controllers across the room. Yeah. But you were like 3 years old, so I'll forgive you.
I'll allow it.
Then you got up and ate my Pokemon cards, but whatever.
Hey, not the valuable one.
Yeah. Well, I think that'll do it for this show. So next week will be something awesome, and hopefully we'll add something else to your shelf.
Yeah, we don't talk about bad things here. We talk about only good things.
Yeah, the bad things in the past can become nostalgic good things in the future.
No.
See y'all later.
Not when you. Okay.